Hello, everyone. Imagine for a moment standing at the precipice of your own impossibility, that looming mountain of debt, the unyielding fortress of a broken relationship, the silent, gnawing dread of an unfulfilled dream. We all have that list, don't we? The one whispered only in the darkest hours. The impossible lists fey a collection of burdens too heavy for mortal hands, too complex for any earthly solution. It is the relentless echo of a struggle that saps your strength, dims your hope, and whispers insidious doubts into the quiet corners of your mind. You've fought, you've strived, you've clawed your way through the trenches of your own will, only to find yourself, often back at the same insurmountable wall. This isn't just about facing challenges. It is about confronting the very limits of your human capacity, the agonizing realization that some battles, perhaps even your most crucial ones, simply cannot be won by you alone. But what if I told you that list, that very burden holds the key to an ancient power, a forgotten pathway to the miraculous? What if the struggle itself is merely a prelude to a divine intervention? What if the impossible is not a dead end, but a hidden gateway to a realm of infinite possibilities, guarded by secrets whispered across millennia? This isn't just theory, it is a proven path, a sacred blueprint for transformation. It is a way to give your impossible list to God, then do three specific powerful things, and watch, as if by ancient magic, a miracle unfold before your very eyes. Stay with me, because what we're about to uncover will redefine everything you thought you knew about faith, power, and the unfolding of destiny. For millennia, whispers have traversed the veil between worlds, tales of unseen battles fought not with steel and fire, but with faith and doubt. The ancient texts, the very bedrock of our understanding, speak not of passive hope, but of a dynamic partnership. They speak of angels, not as winged cherubs, but as celestial strategists, divine emissaries poised to act when humanity dares to step aside and invite the heavens into their earthly fray. These are not mere fables, they are blueprints, encoded with the profound wisdom of a universe where the impossible is merely a term for what humanity, in its isolated strength, cannot achieve. Our modern world, with all its technological marvels, has often forgotten these ancient ways. We're taught to exert, to control, to conquer. But what happens when the enemy is too vast, the problem too deeply entrenched, the mountain too high? What happens when our best efforts yield only deeper despair? It is precisely in that moment of utter human limitation that the divine opportunity arises. This is the moment for the great transfer, the first and most pivotal step towards witnessing the miraculous, the first and arguably most terrifying step on this miraculous journey is to surrender fey, not a surrender born of weakness, but a surrender of ultimate strength. It is the moment you look at that impossible list, feel the crushing weight of its demands, and then, with a breath held captive, you deliberately, consciously, place it into hands far greater than your own. Think of a seasoned general faced with an enemy legion, outnumbering his own 10 to 1. Every strategy exhausted, every tactic failed. His troops are weary, their morale shattered. In that moment of utter desperation, a choice emerges: fight a losing battle, sending his last remaining soldiers to their doom, or call for an unseen reinforcement, an allied force beyond earthly comprehension, one whose might could turn the tide in an instant. This is not about giving up, it's about giving over. It's about recognizing that your current arsenal, your finite wisdom, your limited endurance are insufficient for. It's a profound act of humility, yes, but also a declaration of profound faith in a power that transcends all earthly limitations. Imagine a man, let's call him Silas, haunted by a recurring nightmare. Not a dream of monsters, but of an insurmountable debt, a financial abyss that threatened to swallow his family whole. He worked tirelessly, sacrificing sleep, health, and family. He tried every scheme, every loan, every desperate measure. Each morning he awoke, not refreshed, but burdened by the phantom weight of numbers, the chilling whisper of foreclosure. His mind, a battlefield of calculations and anxieties, was perpetually at war. His body, racked with tension, began to fail him. He was losing, and he knew it. One night, utterly broken, he fell to his knees. He cried out, not in demand, but in raw, unvarnished surrender. I cannot do this any more, he choked through tears. This is beyond me, my strength is gone, my wisdom is bankrupt. I give this impossible burden to you. I lay it at your feet. I trust you with it because I cannot carry it one step further. In that profound moment of letting go, not just of the problem, but of the Fenid Fein, it wasn't an earthquake, not a sudden vision of angels. It was a quiet, deep, almost imperceptible release. The knot in his stomach loosened. His shoulders, perpetually hunched, began to relax. For the first time in years, he slept deeply, without the torment of numbers dancing in the shadows of his mind. This active, agonizing surrender is not a sign of weakness. It is an admission that you are human, finite, and limited, but it is simultaneously a declaration that you serve a God who is infinite, boundless, and utterly limitless. It's the moment you cease to be the sole combatant in your personal war and invite the commander of hosts into the fray. Consider the patriarch Abraham, his impossible list, a son, in his old age, a promised heir, then a voice, a terrifying command, sacrifice that very son, Isaac, the ultimate surrender. Not of an impossible task, but of the Fey solution Fey to his impossible task. God was asking him to give up the Fey-and-Swer Fey to his deepest longing, the very foundation of his hope for the future. What was Abraham's response? He did not rage, did not question the logic. He rose early, he split the wood, he built the altar, he bound his son. It was the epitome of active, agonizing surrender. He wasn't giving up, he was giving Fey. He was transferring the weight of the impossible and the very means of its solution into God's sovereign hand. He was saying, in essence, my hope, my future, my very bloodline, it is yours. I trust your promise more than I trust my own understanding of. In that breathtaking moment, as the knife hovered poised to strike, a voice from the heavens intervened. Not a whisper, but a divine command, an angel calling out, preventing the sacrifice. A ram caught in a thicket nearby provided the substitute offering. A miracle, not because Abraham just Fey-wished Fey, but because he Fey-surrendered Fey completely, trusting in a divine logic beyond his own. A logic that saw past the immediate sacrifice to a greater redemptive plan. This isn't about giving up on your dreams. It is about giving them to the architect of dreams. It's about admitting, this is too big for me, but it is not too big for you. It's like clearing the static from a divine frequency, allowing the next instructions to come through. It's the first ripple in the pond of the miraculous. Without this vital first step, the subsequent two steps are meaningless, for they build upon the foundation of a relinquished burden. If this truth stirs something within you, if you feel that impossible weight, then this is your moment to truly let go. And if you are finding this message resonant, your support helps us share these powerful truths with more people searching for answers. Once the impossible list has been surrendered, once the burden has been consciously placed into divine hands, the second, equally crucial step emerges, Fey expectant action Fey. This is where many falter, mistaking surrender for idleness. They believe that once they've given it to God, they simply sit back waiting for lightning bolts and dramatic. But true surrender doesn't breed inertia. It ignites a different kind of movement. It is not about doing nothing. It is about doing everything Fey that is within your power, but with a profound shift in mindset. It's about acting with the absolute conviction that help Fey will, Fey come, and you must be ready to receive and leverage it. Imagine a king who has sent a desperate plea to an allied empire for aid against he has surrendered the fate of his kingdom to this alliance. Does he then simply sit on his throne feasting and awaiting their arrival? Absolutely not. He fortifies his walls, drills his remaining soldiers, stocks his provisions. He dispatches scouts, prepares logistics, and maintains constant vigilance. He acts with the absolute conviction that help will, Fey come, and he must be ready to receive and leverage it effectively. His actions are not driven by fear or the desperate hope of self-salvation, but by the quiet, powerful certainty of impending reinforcement. His activity is a testament to his faith in the alliance. This is the essence of expectant action. It is faith in motion. It is the paradox of resting in God's sovereignty while actively participating in the unfolding of his plan. The prophet Elijah, after his dramatic confrontation with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, prayed for rain after years of a devastating drought. He prayed with fervent intensity. Was his prayer a passive wish? No, it was an act of expectant action. He ascended to the top of Carmel, bent down to the ground, and put his face between his knees. He sent his servant 7 times to look towards the sea. Each time the servant returned, saying, "There is nothing." Elijah did not despair. He did not say, "Well, I guess God didn't hear me." Instead, he sent him again, a testament to his unwavering expectation. He expected the rain, and his repeated sending of the servant was a proactive posture of readiness, a signal to the heavens that he was prepared for the miracle. And then the 7th time, a small cloud, no bigger than a man's hand, appeared, rising out of the sea, the harbinger of a torrential downpour. Elijah didn't just pray. He prepared for the answer. He acted as if the answer was already on its way. What does expectant action look like for your impossible list? It means, while you've released the burden of how it will be solved, you remain vigilant. It means you educate yourself, you refine your skills, you network, you seek wisdom, you tend to your physical and spiritual well-being. It's the farmer who, having prayed for rain, still prepares his fields, knowing the seeds must be ready for the blessing. He doesn't sit inside, idle. He goes out, plows the soil, mends the fences, and clears the irrigation ditches. He acts as if it's the student who, having asked for guidance on a difficult exam, continues to study and prepare, knowing that divine insight often clarifies what has already been absorbed. This isn't about trying to resolve the problem yourself again. It is about becoming the vessel through which the solution can flow. It is about aligning your daily steps with the anticipated miracle. You are not waiting your daily steps with the anticipated. This posture shifts you from a victim of circumstance to an active participant in your own salvation story. It is a dance between trust and diligent preparation, a delicate balance that separates the dreamers from the miracle. Makers, it's the crucible where faith transforms into visible reality, where the divine and the human collaborate to bring forth the impossible. This step demands discipline, resilience, and an unwavering belief in the promise of God's intervention, even when no tangible evidence is yet visible. It is about maintaining a state of readiness, so that when the divine opening appears, you are not caught unawares, but are poised to step through it. If you've made it this far, you are on the cusp of something truly transformative. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need this message of hope. Finally, the 3rd step, often the most subtle and profound, discernment and readiness. Miracles rarely arrive with fanfare and trumpets, announcing themselves in neon lights. More often they whisper. They appear as a new opportunity, a chance encounter, a sudden insight, a seemingly random piece of information. After you've surrendered and engaged in expectant action, your spiritual senses must be heightened, your mind open, your heart prepared to recognize the divine hand at work, even when it looks entirely mundane. The greatest challenge here is often our preconceived notions of what a miracle-facialed look like. We expect a grand, instantaneous reversal of fortune, a dramatic display of power, but divine solutions are often woven into the fabric of everyday life, presenting themselves as ordinary pathways requiring extraordinary faith to traverse. Consider the story of the Israelites at the Red Sea, an impossible list, an impassable sea before them, an unstoppable Egyptian army thundering behind them. Moses, after a night of prayer and leading the people into this seemingly inescapable trap, was given a simple, almost absurd command. Lift up your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. What if Moses, in his fear, had argued, "That's not how miracles work. We need a bridge, not a split ocean. That's illogical." What if he expected chariots of fire to descend? But Moses acted in discernment, trusting the unusual command. The waters parted, creating towering walls of water on either side, and a muddy, potentially treacherous path emerged through the sea floor. It wasn't a magic carpet ride. It was a gritty, unnerving passage through an unconventional miracle. But it was the miracle, and the Israelites had to be ready to walk through it, to embrace the unconventional solution, to put one foot in front of the other into the heart of the seemingly impossible. This is where many miss their miracle. They are looking for a grand cinematic intervention, when the divine is often operating in the quiet hum of everyday life, presenting solutions that require courage, a shift in perspective, or a willing discernment means separating the noise from the signal, recognizing the subtle nudge, the unexpected invitation, the perfect timing of an event. It's the intuition that tells you to take a different route to work, leading to an encounter with someone who holds a key to your problem. It's the quiet voice urging you to reread a passage you dismissed, only to find a profound insight hidden within. Readiness means when that door, no matter how small or unlikely, appears, you are prepared to step through it, to take the risk, to follow the intuition. It means acknowledging that the miracle might not solve your original Fey problem directly, but it might open a new path that renders the old problem irrelevant, or empowers you to overcome it in a way you never imagined. It might be a breakthrough in your understanding of yourself, a newfound capacity for forgiveness that frees you from a prison of bitterness, which was the true impossible list all along. This requires a spiritual sensitivity, a third eye of faith. It's cultivated through constant communion, reflection, and a willingness to be led rather than to dictate the terms. The miracle might be a quiet revelation in your heart, guiding you to forgive, to release resentment, to embrace a difficult truth that ultimately liberates you. It might be a person placed in your path with exactly the right words, a seemingly random encounter that is, in fact, divinely orchestrated. It might be a sudden strength to endure, a peace that transcends understanding, transforming the Fey experience of the impossible, even if the external circumstance remains. This is the profound unfolding, the miraculous transformation from within and without, a testament to God's creative, often surprising. Solutions. It is about learning to recognize the divine signature in the ordinary, the extraordinary, and let's bring this to a dramatic crescendo. Imagine a soul. Let's call her Alara. Alara carried an impossible list, a debilitating illness that doctors declared incurable, a family fractured by unforgiveness and decades of bitter silence, and a crushing sense of isolation that felt like an invisible, suffocating shroud. For years, she battled these giants, each day a fresh siege. She consulted specialists, endured painful treatments, attempted awkward overtures to her family, and desperately sought connection. Each effort, however valiant, seemed to yield only deeper despair. The weight was unbearable. But one day, utterly broken and weary beyond measure, she decided. This was not a passive resignation, but an active, conscious decision. She took a worn leather, bound journal, and on its pages she meticulously wrote down every item on her impossible list. With each stroke of the pen she visualized the burden, the pain, the fear lifting from her shoulders, ascending into the heavens, explicitly placing them into the hands of the divine. "This is yours now," she whispered, tears streaming down her face, but with a newfound fierce resolve. I trust you with what I cannot control." This was her profound, agonizing, yet ultimately liberating surrender. With that transfer, a strange, quiet peace descended upon her. Not a cure, but a deep, foundational resolve. The gnawing anxiety began to recede, replaced by a subtle hum of hope. No longer consumed by the how of her impossible list, she began her expectant action. She continued to research alternative therapies, not to fix herself, but to understand her body better, to be a good steward of the vessel she inhabited, preparing it for whatever healing might come. She started small acts of kindness for her estranged family members, a thoughtful card, a homemade meal left on a doorstep, not to force reconciliation, but to plant seeds of love and open channels of communication. She began to journal daily, to meditate on Scripture, to nourish her spirit, making herself a fertile ground for whatever divine seed might be planted, becoming receptive to guidance. Months passed, the illness remained, its symptoms still present, though perhaps a shade less severe. The family tension lingered, a palpable, icy silence. But something had fundamentally shifted. She was lighter, more present, filled with a quiet, unwavering strength. Then came the whispers, the subtle nudges, the moments of discernment and readiness. An old friend, whom she hadn't seen in years, called out of the blue. During their conversation, the friend casually mentioned a little-known experimental treatment, a long shot, available only in a distant city, but one that resonated deep within Alara. She discerned it wasn't a random coincidence, but a divinely orchestrated opening, an answer to her surrender. Simultaneously, a quiet, almost forgotten memory surfaced during her meditation, a specific instance of her own pride and unyielding self-righteousness years ago that had fueled the initial family rift. She saw it clearly now, a blinding insight into her own culpability. She realized, with newfound courage, born not of desperation but of calm faith, she pursued the experimental treatment. She traveled, endured new discomforts, all with a quiet confidence. She also penned a heartfelt, humble letter to her family, acknowledging her own part in their estrangement, expressing profound love and a sincere desire for healing, not demanding, but simply offering, opening the door. The experimental treatment against all odds offered significant relief, not a full cure, but a profound reduction in her symptoms and a quality of life she hadn't dared to dream of. The family, touched by her sincere humility, vulnerability, and renewed spirit, slowly began to mend. Not overnight, but with genuine hesitant steps towards reconciliation, exchanging letters, then phone. It vanished, replaced by a vibrant community born from her vulnerability in the support group and her proactive engagement with those around her. The miracles weren't always loud or instant, but they unfolded, layer by layer, in ways more profound, holistic, and deeply personal than she could have ever orchestrated. Alara's story is not unique. It is a timeless pattern, it is the journey from crushing despair to triumphant hope, from passive suffering to active partnership with the divine. It is about understanding that the impossible is merely the canvas upon which God paints his most magnificent masterpieces. It calls for courage, for faith, and for an unwavering belief that even in the deepest shadows, the light of a miracle is poised to break through, guided by unseen hands and unveiled through your own. So, what is on your impossible list today? Take a moment, truly acknowledge it. Feel the weight of it, the frustration, the fear, then summon the courage to surrender it fully, completely, definitively, engage in expectant action, moving forward with purpose, preparing your vessel for the blessings that are on their way. And then open your eyes, your mind, your heart for the subtle, powerful unfolding of your miracle. Trusting that God's solutions are often beyond human comprehension, yet always perfectly timed and perfectly fitted to your deepest needs. This is not just a belief system. It is a proven path to transformation, a journey that has changed countless lives across millennia, turning what seemed utterly insurmountable into a testament. If this narrative has resonated deeply with your spirit, if you feel the stirring of possibility within you, then don't keep this secret to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone weighed down by their own impossible list. Leave a comment below with what impossible you are ready to surrender, and how you plan to engage in expectant action. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and join our growth. Your engagement fuels this mission, allowing us to bring more powerful stories and insights to you. Remember, you are not alone in your struggles, and you are not powerless. You are a co-creator, a divine partner in the grand tapestry of existence. Give your impossible list to God, then do these three things: surrender, expectantly act, and discern with readiness, and then prepare to witness the impossible bend to the will of the Almighty as your miracle unfolds before your very eyes. The ancient whispers are calling. Are you ready to answer? That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.